Anyway, all right. So today we are coming to towards the end of this subject. So very quickly, we are going to go through. I've sent you some yesterday. Right, I sent you yesterday special financial crimes PowerPoint that includes criminal misappropriation, criminal breach of trust, cheating, and that include fraud and white collar crime. So anybody have any questions to ask with regards to that PowerPoint? We have not been, talking to each other because of the break. So I'm happy to see you today. So let me hear if you have any question. Right. No question? Okay. Now let me go on. Right. I hope. Right. There's 13 of you. That's more should come, isn't it? Right. Now, what I wanted to say is we have looked into criminal misappropriation, criminal breach of trust, cheating and fraud. And today we are going to continue into white collar crime. Before I do that, all right, let me open to you the screen so that you will know, you will have any questions or anything that you want to know before we continue. Anybody wants to say anything, ask question maybe? No? All right.
No for now, Prof.
Okay, good. Right. Thank you, Ehsan, for replying. So it's really very important because most of you are switching off your camera, isn't it? Right. So that I'm not able to see your reaction. Right. A reply from Ehsan is really very welcome. Okay. And you know that this is a recording session. Okay. Therefore, since we have already complied that, I am going to run through, okay, this slide that I have sent you yesterday. Go very quickly to find the page that deals with white collar crime. Okay, right? Am I correct that you have no question on all the subject before? Okay, as Ehsan said, no question now. So let's look into.
Yes, no.
Thank you. NOCMA, CBT. I'm trying my, best last night to combine it all together so that next time when you do your revision, which is it's time to do your revision nowadays, right? It'll be easier for you to have only one slide that covers everything. All right. Okay. And every time when you do your study, your notes, right, you must remember to have the penal code in your hand, all right? Because sometimes having the actual legislation will help, ya. Alright, mana dia? Saya jauhnya pergi. 159, right? 159 to prove 420. Okay, that's it. 129. Okay, let's have a look at 129, the slide. If it is with you, let's have a look at it. White collar crime. Now, this is a term that is always used in the newspaper. In Malaysia, the terms white collar crime, it's not favorably used by the newspaper. All right, the reason because we have already used this word by the word corruption. All right, corruption is one in Malaysia that highlights everything. In fact, corruption is the favorite word to replace white collar crime. Now, there are similarity between, all right, white collar crime and CBT and corruption. All right. Okay, in Asia, corruption seems to indicate that there are political people or very distinguished people that the public knew, or a public figure. Usually they will use the word corruption, but actually corruption is similar to CBT because these are the people that we know. These are the people who involved in corruption. They are the people with entrustment authority, right? The fact that they are entrusted with certain money, including the politician, they are entrusted with our trust to take care of our welfare. That's why if they commit crime, there are actually, if they commit corruption, they are actually committing CBT. However, due to the fact that due to the fact that they are not charged under the penal code. So the charge that they are involved is under corruption. SPRM may be through the Bank Act or any other act related to it, or even using the company law. As long as they're not using, all right, penal code, then they are not charged with the crime of CBT or cheating according to the penal code. That's why the terminology differs, all right? Okay, the other one,
Prof, if I may interrupt.
yes, Ehsan, go on.
Okay, for example, one case, the accused is charged under Penal Code Section 161,
Apa dia section 161 tu? 161.
receiving bribe for government servant.
Okay.
So the penalty for it is just maximum of 3 years, if I'm not mistaken, 3 years of prison. While under the MACC Act,
Yeah,
the imprisonment can be until up to 20 years.
betul.
So why the prosecutor want to charge the accused under penal code if the sentence is longer under MACC Act?
All right. Yeah, that is the mystery of the world, isn't it? That is the mystery in Malaysia. Right. Number one, okay, who decide to charge a person in corruption, CBT, penal code, or all? All right, that is in a criminal matter, it's all in the office of Attorney General. All right.
Yes.
They will do that. That's number one. They have that privilege. Number two, we are not being fooled by them because because when they wanted to charge, they will look into the investigation and evidence and notes that is being compiled by the police. Sometimes, all right, one act of taking money illegally can fall within under the Company Act, Bank Act, Penal Code, and SPRMs, as you have already discovered. So sometimes, okay, bukan sometimes, most of the time, from the investigation notes, from the evidence collected, from the inquiries and record of information, right, there are not enough evidence to prosecute under the element that requires a certain element in the penal code, right? Or in the Bank Act, or in the Company Act, or in the Business Act, right? So the best is element, they look into the element. Sometimes the element that is presented to their office, all right, it meets the requirements under the SPRM more than the requirements in the penal code. Sometimes the evidence are not enough to prosecute that fella under the SPRM, but enough to prosecute under the penal code. All right. Okay, that's the reason why, all right, that fella you were mentioning, all right, he took a bribe, but that bribe was punished under the penal code. All right. Again, as I said, the one that charged the person is not the one that gathers the evidence or the investigation. All right. The one that it's not the victim. The victim only accused. Right. I've accused you for taking bribery. All right. I give you all the evidence, but all this evidence must meet the element. Jadi, if they don't meet the element in penal code, they probably will meet the element in the corruption. But sometimes if they don't meet corruption element in the Corruption Act, they meet element in the penal code. So that's the reason why. Bukan they favor. Okay, boleh?
Understood, Prof. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Sometimes I must add sikit je lagi for my experience as a lawyer before. Now, when it comes to the lawyer are being punished with CBT twice. Right. First under the penal code, they can be charged with CBT, or they can also be charged with CBT in their own Legal Profession Act. Right. Okay, but even so, there is this two section in the Legal Profession Act. It says sometimes if that one person is discovered to have committed fraud, in the form of CBT fraud, all right, he does not have to be handed over to the AG. It's the Bar Council. It's the institution that handles lawyers will punish that person himself. And the punishment is even more severe. You can go to jail, or you'll be prosecuted, that your license can be taken, can be terminated. So you see, that is the privilege. So in our situation, in your situation, that's going to be a forensic investigator one day, then you will know, all right? You have to gather the evidence. You can make suggestion, but you don't do the charge sheet. Boleh? Yeah? All right. Okay, right, thank you. All right, let's look into the white collar crime. All right, just now I was saying, when it comes to white collar crime have a certain characteristic. Which characteristic is usually not highlighted? It's not that it doesn't happen, it doesn't meet the character of white collar crime. It's just that in Malaysia, the characterization of white collar crime specifically to the word WCC, it's not mandatory in Malaysia, or not being favored by the society, or even by the institution. All right, okay. Now, white collar crime, this is a situation number one. Okay, you have read that, the one that I've sent you. So let me just summarize them in clear notes. Number one, white collar crime. It is crime in a form of CBT, CMA, or fraud, or corruption, or bribery, right? It is committed by an individual, satu orang. All right, okay, even though this one person has a team, but the main person who designed the crime is actually one person. And this one person is such a clever one. Right, very clever, highly educated, highly polished in the lifestyle. And in fact, most of the time, this white collar crime with highly educated background, education background, he is also holding a highly respected job. Like, for example, he is the, the shareholder. He himself is actually a general, main director, or the auditor. All right, that's number one. An individual with a brilliant academic education. Or he has a good skill. He have won an award that he is the best hacker in the world, for example. Or he is at one time was being praises in the company called Shell. Shell is a company, that we're dealing with petrol, but it is an international company. And he is the one that designed the international technology computerized system, for example, something like that. He must be a person well known for his expertise or capability, right? That's number one. Number two, he commits a crime against an institution. Element number two, he commits a crime against the institution where he works, or institution that is related to where he works, or institution that he represents, right? Okay, now a crime committed against the institution, right? Sometimes he commits crime together with the team in that institution. Sometimes he commits a crime together with the team that he selected, but he designed them. The rest are just following his instruction. He is a person who commits crime against an organization, for example. All right. In short, I just want to show in clear how WCC happened overseas. In England, right? One person, okay, he is the aging director of a Bank of England. All right, and he used his scheme, his ability. He resigned. No, he didn't resign. He have completed his service. He was on his pension, last month of his pension, coming to his pension years. All right, and he committed white collar crime. He took money from all the accounts from the Bank of England into his account. In fact, not into his name, into another account, personal account, and then transfer it to a Swiss account, and then transfer it back to account of a company. He take pain to design it, but he did it with a loan. Because he was the senior a senior director of the Bank of England, and Bank of England was deprived of many millions. All right, only 2 years after he have already gone for his pension. Yeah, all right. An examples. Many things have happened, right? White collar crime. Okay, you remember another white collar crime is this Enron case in America, right? Enron is a company, and in that company they have this pension institution that takes out money from the salary of all the workers and put it in the pension institution. The pension will go and invest money, but this guy called Enron, who is actually the co-owner of the company, all right, instead of paying for all the number of 22 years when he was working, the investment money into the investment company, all right, he takes some money into his account. And during the bad period of economy, all right, he took more money into his account. In fact, all those percentage that's supposed to be paid, the dividend that's supposed to be paid to the account of all the workers, he took it all. Right, okay, by the time the workers wanted to take out their discharge because the company was not making good, so everybody want their investment, they realize the investment has already been gone, all taken by Enron. All right, okay, the director, that is white collar crime. All right, he built the system, he destroyed the system. All right, okay, now it is also white collar crime when you call it an organized crime, meaning that you pack together. We've seen a lot of movies on organized crime, right? Okay, so in the situation, I'm introducing to you white collar crime, a crime against a business, again an institution, all right, with one mastermind. Okay, this crime in Malaysia, it's not being considered as a crime under penal code, or a crime under corruption, or a crime under the bank. So when we caught a person like this, we either in Malaysia prosecute under the penal code, that the one you know, and the one that you already know is the SPRM. All right, okay, they don't caught them in an action and prosecute them all together to make it work on the crime, the white collar crime. So when one person is hired, although he is the mastermind, but it can only work with the triangle groups, with all the groups, right? Okay, so that is the weakness in Malaysia. So one day when you are going to improve the situation, you are going to pay attention to white collar crime. Yeah, all right, how to prosecute them, right? The next one is, okay, right, okay, the